Welcome back to Social Club on Ball Street. I'm still joined by Ira from United People's TV, by Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV, of course, and by Baz from Toffee TV, and obviously myself from the Redmen TV. We've discussed a whole host of topics so far, including Klopp for the cop, because we all like a little bit of alliteration. We've discussed Mourinho meltdowns. What else have we discussed? Everton, energetic.
Enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Is it Klopp or Kloop? Because the taxi driver, I know he's a Scouse accent and that, but he kept saying Kloop to me.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, am I getting it wrong?
Has he been on the Gloop as well? Maybe.
He's been to Wilton.
Yeah, so what I want to ask you, because kind of moving on from the Mourinho stuff, I guess the big question, and I'll start with you on this, is that is top four totally up for grabs now?
I think based on the results so far this season, yeah.
It's true, isn't it? Because I think there was, particularly from a Liverpool perspective, we were kind of looking at going into this season, we'd have to have an exceptional season to have a chance of breaking into those top four places, given the size of the clubs and the money they've spent, etc., etc., etc. Chelsea's form so far, I don't think, if you looked at the teams that were going to drop out, I think everyone would have said it's probably Man United, but it was the most up for grabs because they needed to reassert themselves in that position. I know you probably would disagree on that, but I don't think anyone would have expected Chelsea to be the weakest offering of those from last season.
Before the season had already started, everyone's like, yeah, Chelsea, they're going to win the league. It was already theirs. 3-4 games in, suddenly it's Manchester City. They're going to win. A few more games
and
in,
it's slowed down a little bit for them, and then United at top of the table.
We get top of the table. There's
did it feel
talk
good?
About. Yeah, it did. Let's talk about us winning.
Yeah.
Arsenal won yesterday, and let's talk about them winning the title now.
We'll definitely come on to that a bit more of that in a minute. I'm sure Robbie will discuss that with Glee. But what about you, Baz? Because you said earlier on in the show that there's a host of teams now who will be looking at that, at the very least, that fourth slot and going, why not? Why not?
Definitely, I totally agree with you. I think I would have said, no offence, Rob, but United and Arsenal, if there was going to be any vulnerability there, it may come from them. And I mean, it's ridiculous to say Arsenal because they win it every year, don't they? They're always in that top four. Yeah. I think it's 18, 19 years on the run. No, not a criticism, it's unbelievable. Yeah. I think it's the best record out of any of them now, isn't it? The top four. So that's something to be proud of because they're there every year.
It's not something that we'd all take.
Without a shadow, well, we would. Without a shadow, wouldn't we? But that, so I thought...
You're learning time, mate, don't worry.
I thought City would win it this year, personally. I just thought they'd have to come out strong. But Chelsea, it was between them two. They were 1 and 2 and locked in. Mm-hmm. Then I thought Arsenal, United, in general, like you said, for anyone else to have a top four shot, they would have to have an incredible season, 75 points plus at least to be knocking on the door. But here we are, we're 7-8 games in. Chelsea are lying in 14th or something like that. Liverpool are halfway down. Okay, United, City and Arsenal are in there. Yeah. City probably look, well, I don't know, they looked great the other week and then they looked a little bit, they could have been 2 or 3 down at the weekend before they got their act together. So while they're still there, at the moment you're looking at Palace, you're looking at Leicester and going, hang on, West Ham. But I think once it all settles down, personally, I think Chelsea will be banging on that door, but there's definitely now going to be a gap. There will definitely be an opportunity, and it's for teams like Everton and Liverpool, Tottenham, those kind of sides, West Ham, all of them, to really start winning games.
It's a chance to capitalise, isn't it? Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I guess less of an issue for us. I think Arsenal have got their eyes very much fixed on the title. I think personally, Robbie, but I'm sure you'd agree on that. But I think for the teams who have that fourth place, I say ambition because it's a bit pathetic, isn't it, to have a fourth place ambition in a league? How bad's football become? But there's now come a point, and I was saying this is the weekend. Teams have got to start capitalising on how terrible Chelsea have been, because this is it. You're not going to get this opportunity again for a team to combust quite like that. No one's done it since we did it, like 5 years ago, pretty much. So Chelsea have got to turn it around, but there are a number of teams. Do you think we'll see someone new breaking into the top four, or will it settle down?
It's quite possible. I mean, as you said, you've got Spurs there, you've got Southampton. Really
everyone wrote them off as well,
and they really impressed me at the weekend. You've got teams like Swansea that play good football. And I think it's that there's a lot of teams there that on any given day if you, even as us or others being so-called big clubs, if you're not on the money, they will beat you.
Yeah.
Especially when you go to their places, they're treating them games like a cup final. They're up for it. You know, I mean, when Arsenal played Leicester the other day, the way they started off, they came to war. You know, they're up for these games, and also a lot of these teams have got quality players. It's not like it's just passion and drive. They've got, you know, Leicester had Mahrez, Vardy.
Every team in the Premier League pretty much every single player.
Yeah,
you'd probably have him in your team.
I think you're right. I think this could be a year where maybe a team that doesn't normally always get into the top four gets into the top four.
Could be 2005 all over again.
It could be, and then you know Liverpool now is going to bring in a new manager, so they're going to be knocking in it as well. So you know it's going to be really, really interesting. This is one of the most evenly matched seasons I've ever seen. Like there's so many. Look, when West Ham came to Arsenal and they beat us on the first game of the season, that was not a fluke. They outplayed us.
Yeah.
Then they've gone and beaten City away.
Battered Liverpool.
Then they've gone and beat Liverpool away. So if you do it 3 times, it can't be a fluke.
No, absolutely.
So
it's against Sunderland.
Well, no,
That's
they
not
drew.
That
is the Premier League. They drew. Was it? They drew Sunderland, was it?
2-2 in the end.
But I mean, that's the Premier League for you, isn't it?
Barini should have made it 3-0. I think it was 2-0. But I mean, we had this a couple of years ago when Liverpool come very close to winning the title. Everton had it in their own hands. We beat Arsenal at Goodison, and if we'd have won every game, then we had 4 games to go. If we'd have won them, we were 4th. If not, Arsenal could do
That's right.
And so it nearly happened a couple of years ago. Last year, kind of orderly, the natural order, if you like, of money or whatever you want to call it, was put back in place. And it was just then with United strengthening so much, and you looked and thought, going to be really difficult for anyone to undo that now. But look, the way it's going at the moment, it's anyone's game.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because you kind of you look at it. It happens every season, doesn't it? You have 2 or 3 teams that come out the blocks flying, and the number of teams you go like it was Blackpool a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, look at them now.
Hull City.
Hull, you know, and you look at these teams, and it does tend to sort of level itself out.
Yeah.
Exactly, Leicester. But I guess, do you reckon this could be? I mean, could this be that season where one of those teams actually does stick it out and break into that sort of, I don't know, I suppose European elite's a little bit grandiose for it, but
I reckon so. Yeah, the league's getting a lot more competitive. You know, at least like every team has got at least one really good player who obviously says we get into any other team or has played Champions League football.
Look at Stoke.
Yeah.
They've got more Champions League winners than like Barcelona at the moment, haven't they? It's ridiculous. No, yeah, obviously. But yeah, no, it's I think ultimately football does tend to even itself out, doesn't it? So you'll probably see Leicester will probably drop off and probably end up about 8th or 9th, I guess. But
they'd be delighted with that.
Fantastic watching though. In the meantime, no, you're dead right on that. Like, it'd be interesting to know that you're watching at home. Who do you think, if anyone, can break into that top 4? I mean, obviously Liverpool, yeah. But no, could it be an outsider? Could we see a real shift to the status quo? Suggestions in the comments below, of course. Give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I mean, you've done it already, yeah? They've all done it already, surely.
Of course, do it.
Absolutely not.
Do it now.
What's wrong with you if you haven't? Go and do it now.